First of all, what I got from that was Jake Gruden showing, hey, there's a new sheriff in town, and
this is my official thoughts on the Universal Monsters, Universal Horror Cinematic Universe, which I was talking about in my last video. My first video was my first thoughts on the potential monster Universal Horror Cinematic Universe. This right here is my official thoughts on the Monster Cinematic Universe, and I was just reading on the Universal Monsters Wikipedia page that they've tapped Chris Morgan and Alexander Kurtzman to develop new films based on the characters Frankenstein, the Wolfman, the Creature from the Lagoon, the Invisible Man, the Bride of Frankenstein, and I think I said the Mummy, and the Mummy. Of course, all of this started with the Dracula film, and they did say if they want to include the Dracula film in this Monster Cinematic Universe, they're free to do so. And of course, Dracula may have a cameo in the Mummy film. The first two films they appear to be starting off with are the Mummy. They're gonna reboot the Mummy first. Then of course they're gonna do the Wolfman. They're gonna start off with the Mummy. I love what Stephen Sommers did with the Mummy. Back in '99. I would love to see Kurtzman. I would love to see Kurtzman's reboot of the character. The Mummy has been long overdue for a comeback, and this is good because I like the Mummy 3, but that was the weak point of the franchise, and I didn't see any sequels to that film being any good. As much as I want to see a sequel to The Mummy Returns from the second Mummy film in the Stephen Sommers series, they should not have done a sequel to that film, because Imhotep, the Mummy, one of the most badass villains of all time, one of the best mummies of all time, he chose to die when the Moon abandoned him, so I didn't see a point really of bringing him back in the third one, even though they could have. Then of course you got the Mummy, and then we got the Mummy 3 with Jet Li, which I thought was awesome, but I can see why a lot of people hated it. It was kind of just generic and kind of just there. So them taking the Mummy in a new direction instead of doing a sequel. They were talking about a sequel set in Peru. That didn't sound like anything that was going to be good. So yeah, the Mummy being reimagined in a new cinematic universe is the way to go. Let me check right here. Well, they didn't say anything else about the Mummy film. Now for the Wolfman film, they claim they're gonna reboot the Wolfman film. This is the second film they tried to reboot. I loved it 4 years ago when they rebooted the film with Benicio del Toro. I loved the Wolfman 2010. That was an awesome film, and I felt that could have started a new cinematic universe. But that movie didn't sit well with critics, and it didn't take much in at the box office. So yeah, they're gonna try it again now. I hope this one is good and it makes money. This Wolfman is set in modern times, and it's gonna be more of an action adventure story than a horror story. Don't mind that the last Wolfman was more of an action adventure story, was more of an action adventure comic book type movie than a horror movie like the first, than a psychological horror movie like the first one, like the first Wolfman movies with Lon Chaney from the 40s and Lon Chaney Jr. from the 40s, and then of course you got now the modern setting. I'm kind of mixed about that. I prefer the Wolfman to be set in a classical time, but it's one of those things where you just got to give it a chance, and who knows, maybe it's one of those things that looks bad on paper but looks good when you see it on the screen. The Wolfman being set in a modern time, and that is technically reimagining the character. Like they said, they're not only bringing these characters back, but they're reimagining them in new ways. They're reinventing the characters, which I like. And of course, like I said, this is the first two films. Then of course then they're going to do films based on Frankenstein, Bride of Frankenstein, the Creature of the Black Lagoon, the Invisible Man. the Invisible Man and all the other stuff. But these were the first two they announced. Then of course the Dracula sequel is optional. Well, this was my official thoughts on the Monster Cinematic Universe. I am initially excited. I'm immediately excited with the news that they're rebooting the Universal monsters. All right, dog out.